Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach. So back in the '80s, they used to have the commercial for the army that's like, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day, and it was presented as like the army, so they're so efficient and disciplined, but it's really just a logistical thing of just getting up earlier than other people. For some reason I fell asleep. Trying to finish this movie. So then I woke up early and then I did a couple things. I just finished it right now. I've been up since like 6. It's only 11. I've done a ton of stuff. It's I'm not impressed, Army. You just woke up earlier. That's literally it. So anyway, this is Minority Report, the movie. I know there was a later TV show and I mentioned, but I was just being funny in the title of the video. But this is a weird one because when it came out, I remember it very distinctly because it was a huge deal. It was a huge hit. And it just made me angry. I don't know. Some movies and, you ever have that actor you just hate? Well, I like Tom Cruise a lot. But this story, like the whole concept, everything about the movie just annoyed me. First of all, the monochrome thing for sci-fi movies was already getting played out by the time they did this, even though it was kind of, it had just started. It had already gotten old, or not. It's not monochrome. It's like desaturated with color correction and all this other weird stuff. Basically, it's how all sci-fi and pretty much all TV shows look right now. They do a whole bunch of like sepia. Like I was watching the Boys, and I was like, why do all the white people look like they have tortillas for skins? And it's because they have the sepia filter, color correction they put on every single scene, and it really brings out the sun damage in like all the white people. Everyone else looks fine. They're just like sepia toned versions of themselves. But literally, go look at a tortilla, and then go look at a white person from Amazon Prime Video, The Boys, and tell me they don't look exactly the same. And then like the title was really boring, like Minority Report. That's not like a big. This is a summer movie. It was 2002. That's not like a big budget. They should have just called it Pre-Crime or something like that. So anyway, I think most people know the idea about this. It's the future, and they can predict murders. So they go and arrest you for the murder that you haven't committed because they saw it was going to happen. I just got to say, this is like, at the very end, they say based on a short story by Philip K. Dick. And I was like, there's a reason why it was a short story. Because it's a shaggy dog story. Not everything has to have like a moral or a theme. But to me, sci-fi, it's more incumbent because sci-fi is it's a genre about ideas. So to have an idea and then not do anything with it at all besides just do different shaggy dog permutations of it is pointless. So it's about being able to predict the future and stop it. So it's basically a story built around a technology that will most likely never exist, which even in this story was most of the time used correctly. So they have these 3 psychics. So the weirdest, okay, I actually really hate, I always imagined I was going to hate this movie, and then I watched it, and the first hour is kind of okay. They're setting it up, and then it just goes off the rails and becomes, that's why I said it's its own prequel, sequel, TV series, and Saturday Night Live parody, because this movie, like, I guess technically, like the first, no, this is literally like 5 separate tones to the movie. Okay, so Tom Cruise plays a very un-Tom Cruise-like character. It's a drug addict, and they show that right away. You're like, nope. Tom Cruise doesn't play drug addicts. He plays super alphable alphas, super affable alphas. Wow, I think I actually said that correctly, but it felt like I didn't. So he plays super affable alphas. He doesn't play drug addicts. Yes, I understand. He's mourning the loss of his son, but the same thing happened to his ex-wife, and she's in this Better Homes and Gardens, place out in, I don't know, East Hampton or something like that. So he plays a cop who arrest people before they commit crime. So one of the multiple elephants in the room is they've got pre-crime. Okay, so you can predict murders and stop them. But then they also brought back slavery, and they stopped giving like proper punishments for things. So they have these psychics that were invented. I think it was like a side effect of a drug. There's like it was called like neuroxin, and then if you're an addict and you had a kid, most of them had birth defects, but some of them were mutants who had psychic powers who could predict the future, and also just general ESP for the present. So they brought back slavery and just enslaved these three precogs, they call them. Then people are arrested for crimes that they don't commit, that they were going to commit. And then they're in prison, imprisoned for life. They're basically, what is it? What was that surgery? They used to like drill into the front of your head and like cauterize part of your brain or drill it out. Whatever that was. It happened to one of the Kennedys. Oh gosh, what is that called? Lobotomize. So you get basically get lobotomized and put into prison for the rest of your life for an attempted murder that never happened. Like, these people aren't just charged with attempted murder. They have this halo which basically lobotomizes them, and then they're put in jail what seems to be forever. So, you know, one of the things when I was talking about on my other channel, I'm talking about I really like John Carter and I want to do a comic, and people were saying, you know, one of the problems with the movie is it did two things. You had to go back into the past and then effectively into a future or into a futuristic society. It should have been present day John Carter going into a futuristic technological society. So I do understand that. So it's like, okay, so you got pre-crime. Okay, you also have these floating, they're not, I don't know what you call them, drop ships that are like from the year 2625. They're these giant hunks of metal that float. They don't have rotors, they don't have VTOL jets, they just float. So you have this incredible anti-grav technology, but then you have jetpacks that have jets on them. Wait, what? It's like you're mixing like 50 years in the future, 500 years in the future, and literally can never happen technologies. So then what it becomes is half of it is just generic running, escape, punching, fighting stuff. But then all of a sudden it'll, and like I said, a lot of the world building is just trash. You have driverless cars. Okay, cool. You have driverless cars that also drive up the sides of buildings. Wait, what? What? Why don't you just have, what was it, subspace beaming or whatever it was? You know, in the new Star Trek movies where Scotty creates the ability to beam across the galaxy? Like, why are there even ships anymore? Just beam 5 people in spacesuits with a box of MREs across the galaxy, and then bring them back a day later. Oh, what was that like? Planet like, oh, we took pictures. Here's the soil samples. And then they have like these 30-ton floating metal vehicles, but then it's 2054, 56, and USA Today is still around. Magazines are still around. Like, I was talking about this on my other channel. Like, the world building is just trash. So I guess the moral of the story is like, you can change your future. It's not set in stone, but oh my gosh, you did not need 2.5 hours. And then, like I said, it veers into like this weird, like Paul Verhoeven, like right in the middle, we meet, that guy, he's from Europe and he has dentures and he's in freaking everything. He's in like Coen Brothers movies. He's in, John Wick 2. He was in some Schwarzenegger movie. Like, he's in everything. And he's there, and he's like, you don't remember me. I used to burn people alive. Like, wait. Tom Cruise was a cop, and he doesn't remember the guy who used to burn people alive as art? So then, like, he gets his eyes replaced, and then he's holding his eyes in a plastic bag and using them to, like, get into sensors. By the way, he's already been arrested, or they put it... He's basically hunted, but he could still get into his office. Like, it's just stupid. Like, and again, it's a movie that seems to be about nothing but just kind of doing like a Hitchcockian. At the end, they're like, oh, the crime was real, but it was faked, and then he faked the real crime dressed like the guy. Like, okay, fine, that works fine for a short story in a sci-fi anthology where you take 15 minutes to read some Shaggy Dog story. I remember reading this sci-fi anthology, and it was a Japanese family, and they didn't like to go out in the rain, and then at the end you found out they were made of sugar and they melted in the rain. Even as a kid, that story was only like 18 pages. Even then I realized I kind of hate sci-fi if that's what sci-fi is. If it's just stupid, pointless Shaggy Dog stories. What if this family was made out of sugar? They wouldn't want to get wet. What would happen if they got wet? They melted. The end. What? Stop it. So at the end, it just gets ridiculous with people who would never commit murders committing murders. With like, at one point, like, so Tom Cruise has been on the run, accused of multiple murders, and then they see something happen in real time, and his ex coworker is just like, put this on the screen at the award ceremony for the guy committing the murder. Like, they don't even say like, okay, let's review this and like double check it's true. It looks like a lot of things are happening. Like, no, he just shunts it onto the live feed. Like, what is the AV guy in that banquet hall? Oh, geez, I'm being hacked. What? How am I being hacked? Oh, somebody's what? Like, what? And then you literally have an old lady faint. This is like a movie made in like the 1930s. You have women fainting. Oh, I just got surprising news. Oh, give me some laudanum. Oh my gosh, I hate this movie. So I hated this movie before I saw it, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, this is a good movie. First hour I was like, oh no, this is complete shit. So anyway, thanks for watching. And I'll have, I think the next movie I'm going to do is Black Hat. It's Michael Mann and Chris Hemsworth, or as Rich on Red Letter Media, Half in the Bag, calls him Chris Helmsworth. I saw it before. I worked in cybersecurity. I liked it. And you're gonna like it. I'm just joking. Thanks for watching.